Pat McAfee has the complexion for the connection for the protection. Yes, he does. Yes, he does. And that was on full display this past week. Hell, and probably the week prior as well, huh? Let's talk about this, y'all. I ain't gonna spend too much time on this shit, but when you see something so blatantly hypocritical, goddamn it, motherfucker like me gotta say so. Before I do, make sure y'all hit that subscribe button. I am your homeboy first, and this is the realest, most entertaining show in the game. Put it on something. Again, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that share button. Put all of your people on it. Okay. Yes, Pat McAfee. Gotta say ESPN's Pat McAfee. This man over here has done shit that Jamel Hill, Michael Smith, Dan Lebertard, hell, Stuart Scott. Stuart Scott probably rolling over in his motherfucking grave right now, seeing the shit that Pat McAfee gets away with. Motherfuckers were hot with Stuart Scott just by having swag while he was doing the shit. By saying shit like, as cool as the other side of the pillow. Motherfuckers were mad at him having this being in tune with the hip-hop community. This motherfucker, Pat McAfee, is on ESPN having a frat party in this bitch. And got his partner, Aaron Rodgers, along with him. See, one of the things about the frat guys, you know, they get together, they get drunk, they do stupid things, they say stupid things. Now, I'm not saying that McAfee or AJ Hawk or Aaron Rodgers was drunk. But Aaron Rodgers' motherfucking ass got on that show and alluded, or implied, I should say, that Jimmy Kimmel, the comedian Jimmy Kimmel, might be on the motherfucking Epstein list. Here's why this shit's so crazy. First of all, Epstein list ain't got shit to do with no sports. You remember ESPN say that we trying to focus on sports. Keep all this other shit out of it. Remember that? Remember that? But it's wilder than that. It's wilder than that because the motherfucker was going at Jimmy Kimmel, who has the late night TV show on ABC. And ABC is owned by the Walt Disney Company. And ESPN is owned by the Walt Disney Company. So this shit is station on station violence, goddammit. And these motherfuckers just Pat McAfee right there in the middle of it. Because he platforming Aaron Rodgers come on there and talk all this bullshit. He done had Aaron Rodgers on there talking about the vaccine and wanting to debate Dr. Fauci and all this motherfucking shit. But then when he got blowback about Aaron Rodgers' comments about Kimmel, this motherfucker Pat McAfee came on the air and went at the bosses. Well, went at one of the bosses, okay? Call that motherfucker out by name. One of the... See, these are the same bosses and shit that you always hear Stephen A. Smith. You know, Stephen A. Smith love to tell you that. He a face of ESPN and shit, #1 show for 12 years. But he ain't never came out and said shit about them bosses. Other than how appreciative he is for their motherfucking ass. Pat McAfee got the complexion for the connection for the protection, though, baby. So he didn't give a fuck. He came on there and called one of them dudes out by name, talking about the man was trying to undermine his show. Shit. Stuart Scott is rolling over his motherfucking grave right now. Gotta be shitting me, man. He sure did it. He sure did it. And ain't took shit back. Ain't took shit back. He named all the folks he got that he cool with of the bosses, but still pointed out that like me and old boy. Let me give you the motherfucking name who he called out. Okay, I don't want to shortchange y'all. I want to give y'all the name. He put the motherfucking name on it. Let me put his name on it as well. Okay, this shit crazy. He went at a man by the name of Norby Williamson. Okay, who this article from the Sporting News is telling me is the executive editor and the head of event and studio production at ESPN. He put his name on it. But see, he feels like he can do that. Why? Because these motherfuckers, based on what Sporting News is telling me, gave that man a 5-year, $85 million contract, as well as a level of creative freedom not available to much of ESPN's on-screen talent. Oh, shit. So supposedly, a New York Post article dropped that said this. Since the inception of McAfee's show on ESPN in the fall, Stephen A. Smith and First Take are handing McAfee a 583,000 viewer lead in. Okay, so First Take comes first, then the McAfee show comes on next. And basically, if you're watching First Take, I guess what the bosses at ESPN were hoping that you would keep watching Pat McAfee. Okay, check this out. It says McAfee is maintaining just 302,000, which is a 48% drop. As compared to the same window last year, which featured SportsCenter, McAfee is down 12%. On FS1, Colin Cowherd's show has nearly beaten McAfee on some days and saw 19% growth from last year to average 156,000 viewers. Okay. So I guess McAfee was accusing this Williamson man, I guess, of leaking that shit and trying to put him on blast. Okay. So these motherfuckers out there beefing. And Pat McAfee don't give a fuck. He put them boys on Front Street and put his name on it. And then when it came to the whole Aaron Rodgers shit, made an announcement that Aaron Rodgers not going to be on the show for the rest of the season. But then, now I didn't see it. But ESPN, not ESPN, excuse me, NBC News tells me that motherfucker was on the show the next day. Now, I didn't see it. Maybe you did, okay? But this is what NBC News says. It says, he's back. Aaron Rodgers returns to Pat McAfee show day after host said NFL star is done with show. They brought him on. The article say they brought him on to talk about Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots parting ways. So this motherfucker right here can have Aaron Rodgers on the show wilding like he been wilding. And would have still been wilding had he not said something so egregious about some of their other on-air talent within, not ESPN, but I'm talking about within the Disney umbrella. If he hadn't said that, he'll still be on there saying the anti-vax shit and all the other conspiracy theories and shit that he got. So McAfee had that motherfucker on there doing that, say that the motherfucker ain't gonna be on there no more, bring the motherfucker back on the next day. Also, while previously calling out one of the bosses at ESPN and still cashing checks. God damn it, he got the complexion that gives him the connection that is needed to get that goddamn protection. It must be nice. Life Jennings said, must be nice. That's what he said. That's what he said. Well, again, I say to you, this is hypocrisy of the highest order. This is some of the reasons why I be saying shit like, hey, I don't fuck with Stephen A. Smith like that no more. Okay. But in the past, I used to say all the time, what he doing now with the Stephen A. Smith show, he should have been doing it. Or figure out a way to have his own version of First Take through YouTube or something. Why not? Why not? All these other, if Cam and Mace could start their own shit out of nowhere, Stephen A. Smith could have been broke away from ESPN and had his own shit. But he likes the comfort of being employed by those bosses, those same bosses that sitting up here and giving Pat McAfee more freedom than they ever gave Stephen A. Smith. And Stephen A. Smith been making these motherfucking money for a decade, for well over a decade. It's fucked up. Fucked up. Jamel Hill had to go, I ain't gonna say get it out the mud, but she had to go goddamn find other avenues and other platforms to get her shit out. She did. Now, am I unhappy with her at the very moment for something she just did about Jackson? I spoke on that on another segment, my segment about the sundown towns and the 215 bodies story and shit like that. Go check that out. Okay. But I do believe that Jamel Hill is a real one. You feel me? And she got fucked over by tweeting that Donald Trump is a white supremacist or a racist. Can't remember. But she tweeted that. Pat McAfee get to go on his show and do whatever the fuck he wants. Guests come on there and do whatever the fuck they want on ESPN's airwaves. Shit crazy. But that's what happens when you got the complexion for the connection for the protection. Put it on some.
Please subscribe to my daddy's YouTube channel because the more subscribers he gets, the more attractive he looks to sponsors. The more attractive he looks to sponsors, the more money he can make. And the more money he can make, the more money he can spend on me.